I'm still with the chairman of the Great British PAC, Ben Habib. Ben, let's talk about reform because, I mean, you know, their triumph is undeniable. There was a political earthquake last week. They did even better than they thought. I think that the legacy parties, as Alex Phillips likes to call them, you know, the Tories and Labour, were stunned by the magnitude of reform's triumph. Well, I mean, this is a microcosm of the hurdles, the mountain they're going to have to climb, because you know they've won 10 councils. Extraordinary. They are now, for the first time in the party's history, in charge of 10 councils. Now they are going to encounter so much resistance to what they want to do. You know, they want to stop diversity, they want to stop working from home, they want to stop net zero, and so on and so forth. So today we learned Derbyshire in particular apparently is going to give them one hell of a fight. The new reform councillors are turning up all over the country, particularly in Derbyshire, being told, instructed to undergo DEI, that's diversity, equity and inclusivity, and climate change training.
So, indoctrination.
Yeah. So Nigel Farage says that his newly elected troops, and I quote, will do no such thing. Because we believe, he says, that all people should be treated equally. So there'll be a fight there. The Reform have also announced that all of their council town halls will only be allowed to fly the Union Jack or the St George's flag or local county flags, local area flags. No rainbow pride flags, no Ukraine flags, nothing like that. Now, this is just one small area where Reform are going to be resisted. The woke establishment is going to fight Farage and his party every step of the way. They've got one hell of a battle ahead, haven't they?
So it's going to be very interesting to see how that battle plays out. But before I address that, can I just say, this is not the first seismic political vote. Of course, the first seismic one was 2016, when we voted to leave the European Union. And then there were a couple of other seismic votes.
And look what happened. Look what happened to that.
Yeah, well, exactly. And, you know, that was hijacked. That was played into the rough by Theresa May. And then there were a couple of seismic votes in 2019, when the Brexit Party was returned to the European Parliament as the biggest political party in the European Parliament. And then Boris Johnson won the thumping vote in 2019 general election, and the majority. And all of that was the British people crying out for the agenda that you and I have just been discussing in the context of the Conservative Party, which includes all the things you've just been saying about DEI, ditching net zero, etc. But what I'm so encouraged with, Kevin, is that notwithstanding the governing class is repeatedly ignoring the directions given to them by the British people, they have yet again come out and voted for it. And this gives me huge hope, because it means the British people will go on demanding of those that govern us for that which we know we need in order to survive as a country. And so whether it's Nigel Farage or the Conservative Party or some other complexion of pro-British parties that come out for a British agenda, a proud, independent, prosperous United Kingdom, that I think is going to be the result of the next general election. With or without the Conservatives, almost certainly with Reform in some capacity, and maybe with another force in play, watch this space, we are going to get a party that will stand, a collective and a governing entity which will stand for this country. So I think we can derive huge optimism from the vote last week and recognise that this Labour Party is playing it completely wrong, and they will get an absolute kicking at the next general election.
Absolutely. And what do you make of Keir Starmer's reaction to, as I say, this
go faster, do more of the same?
His reaction. Any sentient adult, but any proper politician would look at what happened on Thursday and Friday. If you're the Labour leader, say, I need to move to the right. I seriously need to lurch to the right, because that's what the people want. His response was that he'll go harder and faster with Labour's woke left-wing agenda. Is there something wrong with him?
There is something wrong with him, and it's basically this: he suffers from urophilia, which is an extremely serious disease. And in Europhile land, when you are presented with a problem that challenges your ideology, you just do more of the same, and you do it faster and you do it harder. Every crisis that the European Union has ever faced has been responded to with even more Europe, even more Europe, even more European Union, even more unionism and setting aside the nation state. And that's where Starmer is. Starmer is so hijacked by his affliction with Europhilia that he can't understand that the British people actually want him to represent the United Kingdom. They want him to put our interests first. And that's why I say, and I said, I'm sure on your program before, Kevin, Starmer is essentially anti-British. He listens to what the British people are saying, and he says, oh, well, I better do more of my own ideology. Eventually, they'll come round. This man is not fit to hold high office, let alone the prime ministerial position. He is fundamentally anti-British, and he needs to be removed from office. The sooner, the better.
Yeah, I mean, it is extraordinary. I mean, our traditional, our political establishment, the Tories, the Labour, even the Greens and the Lib Dems, who didn't do too badly. By the way, the Lib Dem votes, as always, were protest votes. Nobody actually votes for the Lib. They vote
they're
against.
Voting for someone who can get in a rubber tyre and go down a water slide,
yes,
or fall off a board in the middle of the Serpentine.
But they're not really, are they? When they vote for that clown, Ed Davey, they're voting against the Tories. They're voting against Labour. It's always a protest vote. But they seem now, Starmer and Badenoch, who's, by the way, after Reform's extraordinary triumph last week, her comment was, I have to admit the protest party did quite well. No, Kemi, you're the protest party now. But they're willing themselves not to confront the reality of what happened. The reality of that vote, that landslide against everything they've done. So Keir Starmer, he got the public's verdict on his government, his disastrous government, last Thursday and Friday, and his reaction is, I've got to get more left-wing and I've got to get more woke. He's committing political suicide, isn't he?
He is, but he won't see it that way. He will just see that he has to deliver his ideology in a more pure way so the British people wake up to what is good for them. But he doesn't realise that the British people are miles ahead of those who govern us. The British people see exactly what's going on. They see that the way the country's been governed over the last 30, 40 years is against their interests. Mass migration has not worked for the British people. DEI is progressive discrimination in favour of ethnic, religious and other minorities against the British people. They understand that net zero is impoverishing the British people. They understand that high regulations and high taxes are killing small and medium-sized businesses, killing the working class, killing aspiration, killing hope. They understand all of that. The British people understood this a decade ago, if not longer. It's our political class that doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And the first person to wake up to it, Reform, the persona of Farage has woken up to it. The first person genuinely to wake up to it, a party that can offer the policies that deliver what the British people want, will get a thumping majority.
Yeah, and let's make this clear, Ben, because you've obviously had your differences with Nigel Farage and you left the party. But I believe I'm right in saying that you have no animosity towards Reform UK, and also that you support many of its policies.
So I've got no animosity against anyone, frankly, perhaps with the exception of Keir Starmer and the front bench and the Labour Party. Yeah. But for me, it's not about individuals. For me, it is about putting the country first and doing what the British people have repeatedly told our governing class to do. And the only concern I've got a number of concerns about Reform, and it's that actually even Nigel, the persona of Nigel that people believe and accept, represents that. But some of the things Nigel Farage has been saying and the way he governs his party do cause some concern for me. Mm-hmm. So, he's on the record saying a united Ireland is inevitable. He's not worried about the rate of demographic change. He's not in favor of deporting every illegal migrant who's in the country. He does, and on the ECHR, he says he wants a referendum rather than just leave. And so he says things that wobble me.
Yeah.
And then the party is not democratized. So there's no mechanism by which the party can hold Farage to account.
I know you've got your, but I know it does, Ben. But I think the sort of guiding principle, the central principle of Reform UK, you are still in favour of. I mean, you support
what I want. Yeah, I want leaders and people on the front line of politics simply to say this and say it again and again and again. We believe in a proud, independent, sovereign, prosperous United Kingdom. They have to keep saying that until they understand what that means. It means borders. It means putting British citizens first. It means making sure that we don't substitute work for benefits. We have aspiration, we have hope, we have cultural homogeneity, we have a settled United Kingdom, that we can go forward with confidence that our nation itself won't be set aside, that we will have a governing class that will make policies for the British people and for the country, and so on and so on and so on. It's very simple.
It is.
It's good old-fashioned governance for the British people and for the country.
Let's just finish on look, the net zero madness, the lunacy of crazy Ed Miliband will be enough to sink this government alone, but probably more prominent in their charts of problems is the migrant crisis, which gets worse every single day. We learned today that the hotel bill per night, the cost of accommodation per night of our current haul of asylum seekers, way over 100,000 all over the country, is over £4 million every single day. This government has no plans to deter migrants, is not doing anything about stopping them when they get here. They're guaranteed to be allowed to stay. This government's handling of the migrant crisis has been catastrophic. Now,
it's catastrophic.
We all had our sort of problems with the Rwanda scheme, but at least it was something. That idiot Starmer ditched it on the first day. Ever since, we've had no deterrence whatsoever, only enticements. Come to our country. We'll put you in a 4-star hotel. We'll give you £50 a week. We'll give you free doctors, free dentists, free lawyers, and free food, by the way. So please do come and enjoy yourself. So no deterrence whatsoever, merely enticements. And this government is doing absolutely nothing to stop this escalating invasion. Last week, the best part of 2,000 came over. It's ridiculous. When are they going to do something?
It's absurd. And he talks about smashing the gangs. What he doesn't realise is that the British establishment, the judges themselves, who should be breaking up these gangs, standing up for the United Kingdom, deporting illegal migrants, the judges themselves are part of the problem. We discovered last week that something called Refugee Legal Support, which is a charity that started in Greece, has now come right across Europe and exists in the United Kingdom, has members of the judiciary in it.
I didn't know that.
They are actually training other lawyers in how to use the European Convention of Human Rights, specifically the Third Convention and the Eighth Convention, which give you a right to not be terrorized. The third, so Article 3 of the European Convention of Human Rights states that you should be safe from being tortured and so on, and they're using that to claim that actually people are entitled to free service on the NHS. That's the kind of argument they're making. And it's our judiciary that are part of the gang.
Yeah, they really are.
We are aiding and abetting this trade.
And also, just quickly, the smash the gangs strategy is ludicrous. By the way, they formed the Border Security Command last July the 5th, finally hired someone to lead it in September, 200 grand a year, gave him £175 million worth of high-tech, state-of-the-art, cutting-edge techno equipment to find these gangs. So far, they haven't even found a gang. They certainly haven't haven't smashed any, and even if they did, it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. They got to stop the migrants. This government is incoherent, impotent, and completely hopeless when it comes to this crisis.
Absolutely. And of course, we all knew, Kevin, you can't smash the gangs in the United Kingdom sitting here with domestic agencies at your disposal. The gangs are all in Europe.
I don't think it's the way to go about it. That's not the way to go about it, though. You've got to stop the migrants. You smash every gang tonight. There'll be new gangs tomorrow because the migrants will still be customers. So it's supply and demand. It's a disgrace and a complete disaster. Ben, I've got to go now because we're running. I've run seriously over time with you, as I always do. But pleasure to talk to you. Fantastic. Always good to talk to Ben Habib, there, leader of the Great British Pack.